Afternoon, my friends. Thank you for joining us for one more session of Kardec After Lunch, hosted by Kardec Radio. Allow me the usual announcements. Please feel free to take your time and download the app for Android or iPhone and listen to Kardec Radio programs and podcasts. Also, send questions and comments or suggestions to Kardec Radio's Twitter account. And remember that all of this work is done by volunteers, but there are costs associated with web and app hosting, along with broadcast and publishing. So if you're able to, please be kind and donate so this work of love may continue for many years to come. God bless. We, as is customary, if you've been following our weekly live sessions, we read Kardec, and for just about 15 minutes, a little reading and commentary. We want to make this very easy to follow. It doesn't take too much time. And ideally, we'll like for you to be able to interact with us live, because I think the most benefit we can extract from the doctrine is when we use it, really practice during your daily lives. So, hello, Vanessa. Thank you for joining us. So the idea is we, of course, will benefit the most if we apply or strive to apply those lessons that we learn in our daily lives, right? Or improve our moral standing or intellectual standing and all that. And it's not so we can be above others, but we can become a better version of ourselves, because we are the ones responsible for our development. We cannot delegate this to anyone else. It relies absolutely on us. And such, Jesus said, to each according to his or her deeds, right? We cannot benefit from what someone else, we cannot improve or develop on someone else's efforts. We have to do ourselves. So I just also been informed recently this week that this entire collection of Kardec is available on the International Council of Spiritism website, and in 4 different languages. I think there's Portuguese, English, Russian, and Spanish, if I'm not mistaken. So if you don't have the book, you can go to, and I see if I don't have the link right now, but I'll add the link later. You can go to their website, or you can Google for the International Council of Spiritism, and I believe it's right on the front page when you can click a few links down and download this exact PDF. Okay, but if you like to follow along or reading, we are on page number 131. We're talking about the phenomenon of apportation. Number 96, it goes like this. This phenomenon only differs from those we dealt with above because the benevolent intention of the spirit who produces, by the almost always pleasing nature of the objects, and by the gentle and often delicate manner by which they are carried. The phenomenon consists in the spontaneous bringing of objects that were not in the meeting place a few moments previously. They are usually flowers, but sometimes fruit, candy, jewelry, etc. So this is a phenomenon that's not seen or witnessed very often, or not on those days, and also not during our times. Because remember, this book was written in the middle of the 19th century. Number 97. We must point out, however, that this particular phenomenon is one of the most lend itself to being imitated, and it is therefore necessary to be forewarned against fraud. We know that the art of stage magic can produce experiences of this type, right? It is, of course, fraud has been pretty much a constant with humanity. It would be with us for a little bit longer. if I can put it that way. And of course, we have to be guard ourselves against it. But and how better to guard ourselves against it? By instructing ourselves on how the right conditions and the right intentions and all that about the phenomena itself, right? So, and that's why Kardec put this type of knowledge in the Medium's book. However, even if we were not confronted with a professional, we could easily be fooled by a skillful and self-interested maneuver. The best of all guarantees is, first, the character, the known honesty, and the absolute disinterestedness. I apologize, I think I messed this one up. Disinterestedness of, or lack of interest, of the individuals who experiment with these effects. Second, a careful examination of all the circumstances in which the phenomenon occurs. And finally, an enlightened knowledge of Spiritism, the sole means of determining if there is anything suspicious about the phenomenon. And now we have a message from a spirit about the apportation itself. It's titled A Spirit's Dissertation on Apportation. Number 98. The explanation concerning apportations and physical manifestations in general has been notably summarized in the following dissertation by a spirit whose communications hear the incontestable stamp of depth and logic. Many more of his explanations will appear over the course of this work. He has made himself known as Erastus, a disciple of St. Paul, and is the protector spirit of the medium who serves to interpret him. In order to experience phenomena of this order, it is indispensable to employ mediums whom I shall call sensitives. So this is a message from the spirit already. That is, gifted to the highest degree with the mediumistic faculties of expansion and penetrability. The easily excitable nervous system of these mediums enables them, by means of certain vibrations, to profusely project their animalized fluid all around them. Impressionable natures, those individuals whose nerves vibrate at the least emotion, who respond to the lightest sensation that influences them mentally or physically, internally or externally, are the most capable of becoming excellent mediums for the physical effects of tangibility and apportation. In fact, their nervous system, which is almost entirely deprived of the refractory envelope, which normally isolates this system in most incarnates, renders them appropriate for the development of this phenomenon. Thus, a subject of this nature, whose other faculties are not hostile toward mediumization, will more easily precipitate the phenomena of tangibility, wraps within walls and furniture, intelligent movings about, and even the suspension in the air of any heavy inert matter. The same results will be obtained with greater certainty if, instead of just one medium, there are several equally endowed mediums available. So, just a quick break here. So the idea is not only you need the medium that is specifically gifted perhaps is not the best word, but specifically organized, or in a manner that it's propitious to this phenomena of apportation, but also, of course, in this case, I believe, because it's not spontaneous, I believe we're going to read about the necessity of this medium being developed in knowledge and control. So let's read it. But from the production of such phenomena to the obtaining of apportations, there is a huge gap. For in the latter case, not only is the job of the spirit more complex and difficult, but it can only operate using a single mediumistic instrument. That is, several mediums cannot contribute simultaneously to the production of the same phenomenon. So, of course, the spirit who is capable of such a phenomenon, the medium who's also capable of such phenomena, and permission uh, if needed. You know. Uh, so let's continue. On the contrary, it may even be that the presence of certain persons who are antipathetic to the operating spirit will radically hinder its action. To these very important reasons, we'll also add the apportations always require the greatest concentration and at the same time the greatest diffusion of certain fluids that can only be obtained from extremely well-gifted mediums. In a word, mediums whose electromediumistic instrument is well conditioned. So in this case, I think, like I say, he's not saying that they are born this way, but they develop themselves, right? Normally, apportation phenomena are and will continue to be exceedingly rare. I do not need to show why they are and will continue to be less frequent than the other phenomena of tangibility. From what I have already stated, you yourselves can infer why. Moreover, these phenomena are of a such nature that not all mediums can produce them, and not all spirits can induce them. So, you see how difficult it is to perform. The spirit and the medium had to be specifically, especially gifted and developed to be able to replicate or produce this phenomenon. In fact, between the spirit and the medium, a certain affinity, a certain analogy in a word, a certain similarity must exist that enables the expansive part of the perispiritual fluid of the medium to mix, unite, and combine with that of the spirit who desires to perform an apportation. This fusion must occur in such a way that the resultant force becomes, so to speak, one, that is, in the same way that an electric current acting upon charcoal produces a single focus of light. So, he's making an analogy, of course, to experiments that were perhaps more notable and meaningful uh, during that time, Europe of the middle of the 19th century. But we can, by way of mental, mentalizing, kind of have an idea of what type of analogy he's trying to portray, right? You may ask why this union, this fusion is necessary. So basically is a communion of thought, so they can both act together to produce this effect. It is necessary because for the production of those phenomena, the essential properties of the spirit agent must be augmented by certain mediumized properties, since the vital fluid, which is indispensable for the production of this mediumistic phenomena, and is the exclusive property of the incarnate spirits, must necessarily impregnate the spirit agent. Only then can the spirit agent, by means of certain properties of your environment, which are unknown to you, isolate, render invisible, and move certain material objects and even individuals as well. So the whole idea is there are properties of matter, they are inaccessible to us, but they also inaccessible to spirits. And that's why a spirit who is discarnate and able to access those hidden properties of matter, but also a spirit who is incarnate, which is a person who is able to make this work, this necessary work upon matter, can work together and make this phenomena of apportation possible, right? But as you can see, it is necessary study so we can um, clarify our doubts and just broaden our horizons of understanding and grasp little by little a better idea of why we're here and what we will be doing. Okay? But thank you for your support. Thank you for your time. And until next time, Godspeed to all.